Good morning.
Good morning. Today's June 1st,
Right.
2025.
If we look funny when we first start, it's because we have to look at the camera before we can get started, because otherwise it looks like we are all doing other things. And we're here for
Our
you.
camera's
That's
high.
right. Yeah. Welcome to all of you. I'm going to turn down the volume on this so nobody has to hear everybody joining us. Okay. Wonderful.
Uh, but they can still hear us, right?
Yes, they can. Yeah.
Our topic today is breakdown or breakthrough. So I'm sure
Sometimes they happen in very close succession.
I'm sure many of you will relate to this. I'm going to read this introduction to this, which is that whiplash isn't just physical. It's what we feel when life jolts us with sudden change. One moment we're moving forward, the next we're reeling from loss, news, and disruption. It's emotional, spiritual disorientation. In New Thought and metaphysical teachings, these moments remind us to pause. Whiplash reveals a need for integration. And by whiplash, he's referring to all the quixotic changes we have of we're going to have this tariff or we're going to have that policy. Oh, no, we're not. A court changed that today. Oops, yes, we are. Court approved it. And the whiplash we've been going through with the news, it's just really can be disconcerting. So, as it says, whiplash reveals the need for integration, for letting spirit catch up with the chaos and bring us back to center. The famous, very helpful statement from the Bible, be still and know. Stillness isn't a retreat, it's a recalibration. It's the breath that realigns us with divine order. When life throws you sideways, let prayer be your neck brace and quiet yourself. I'd like to give you a source of that quote, but it comes from the database.
So, that request is actually contrary to our automatic response. Our automatic response when we're faced with any kind of conflict or struggle is to move, to take some course of action. And I think we have to reinterpret action as taking action is sometimes doing nothing. That's an action. And to take the time, one of our members was just sharing a great story about the water going off at water breaks at 2 o'clock in the morning. I may not have it quite right, but there were breaks in the water,
Frozen
frozen
pipes.
pipes. Yeah, and so that meant leakage. That meant all kinds of disasters. And she was panicking and thinking, "What'll I do? What'll I do?" And her husband turned and said, "Let's just turn off the water, and then we'll call somebody, in the morning." And the frenetic response is, "I've got to do something." And what we really need to do when we're faced with the kind of conflicts that we're seeing is hold on, take a breath, go to that center that is you, and ask yourself, what is it that needs to happen here? How can I participate in having things work out? And we often don't do that.
Oh, well, and she prefaced it by saying, one of her teachers said to an audience, you have no problems. And they're going, what do you mean I have no
Yeah,
problem?
really.
You have no problems, only steps to take. And when you take one step, things get a little better, another step, hopefully better. And it's just a sequence of steps that you need to take. That can remove all the, oh my God, ain't it awful, uh, emotions that keep us from taking the proper steps. So with the example of the water pipes breaking, you can do, oh my God, what if we flood? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and really keep yourself from the actions that need to be taken.
Right.
So even as she told me this, because I had my own upset yesterday, and it just really took all the emotion out of, oh my God, what if? And just, no, I just have steps to take to make sure everything is okay. And I think that is a great lesson for today,
Mhm.
because we have a tendency when we listen to what's going on in the world and in the news, we go, oh my God, what if, what if, what if, what do we do? And
It also reminds me that something that we think, we don't necessarily say it, but we think we should have all the answers. We feel like I should be able to solve this as opposed to allowing a greater idea to occur, making space for a greater idea or for a solution to occur. One of the things that occurs to me as you're talking about this, Judith, is we often think of meditation and prayer as both passive and even feminine. And when I say that, I'm not gonna do anything. Hey, be a man, stand up, man up. I hear these kinds of words all the time, and women also need to apply this very often in work situations, or they're told they need to. When in fact, what we really need to do is to recognize the power of meditation, the power of thoughtfulness, the power of going within and asking yourself, what it is that I know? What do I know, and what could I do? What's possible here? We often don't. We simply go to the last thing that's like what we did before that worked and try that, try that, try that. And we're actually not even thinking, we're just reacting. And I'm not going to take a position, and I'm going to ask Judith not to either, although I think she would choose that anyway, on politics. But all I can say is the politics of today are generating a lot more reason for us to take a step back and ask the question, what do I know? Is what's happening now ever happen? And does the outcome I'm afraid of necessarily mean the outcome that's going to occur? And if it does occur, as negative as it could be,
Because you could wait and tomorrow it'll be different.
probably it will be. The solution, in fact, actually, if it's different but not that different, and if there are similar things that keep happening, you may be able to extrapolate a better solution than the one that you have that it follows an immediate kind of knee-jerk reaction. So it's really, really imperative for us to recognize the power of thoughtfulness, the power of going within, and not think of it as doing nothing or as passive. I think where I read a thing earlier today about alpha men, and I'm not being down on alpha men. And the question was, what do you think about a man calling himself an alpha man? And my thought was, you need to consider all the other letters in the alphabet. That there's more. But taking that position positions you to have to defend it rather than to take a step back and say, is this what's appropriate right now? Is this what's going to work best right now?
Yeah, I agree that most of us think the solution to any problem is to do something. And I just use that as an example. You just have steps to take. But besides steps to take, there's also the getting quiet,
Yeah.
the going within, letting spirit calm you, speak to you, uh, choose actions carefully. I have a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, who was a Buddhist monk that had a um, ashram place for people to go from all over the world called Plum Village in France. He was from Vietnam originally and had many traumas in the Vietnamese War. And he walked his way into sanity, walked all the way across Southeast Asia, and found it was aiding him with all his trauma. So that's what he does. That's what he did with people. He taught them mindful walking, which is walking in nature, paying attention to everything, and being quiet, not speaking. So this is a quote from him. He said, cultivating reverence for the simple wonders of life is, in our times, a powerful act of resistance. Choosing to step outside, to open our eyes, ears, and hearts to the presence of this beautiful planet takes courage and freedom. Society has conditioned us against it. And this is a quote from a book that he wrote called Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet.
You know, Judith and I both, because we have a mental health background and have worked a lot, doing a lot of counseling and coaching too, we've both run into a lot of people or treated a lot of people who things are not working for a lot of different reasons. And what they do is they hang on longer because still there's a little bit of things working. A relationship that's been over for a long time is often not left because it's better maybe than having nothing. And so what happens is we often put up with or tolerate or agree to a condition that we're used to when really what's needed is a big enough breakdown to have a breakthrough to allow us to make another choice. And so what I'm seeing now that's happening in our world is many people are holding on to the not all that bad as opposed to saying, what would it take for it to be good? What do we need to do here individually and personally to make it good? Judith and I just yesterday spent most of the day reorganizing the office. And what I didn't want to do was to have to go through stuff and throw stuff away or sort stuff out. I just wanted to move things. Well, the problem was there wasn't room enough to just move things and end up with a good result. It became necessary to throw things away, which is really difficult to do. So what did I do? I thought to myself, I could do this next week. Yeah. I don't have to do it this week. I have a lot of important things to do this week. And so the tendency is to say, it's not all that bad. We put up with it this long. Let's deal with it later. And what's happening with world climate, what's happening with the politics is, no, we don't have a lot of later. We do need to be present for what's happening now. We do need to be present and utilize the skills and talents and gifts we have, but we don't need to keep putting up with the way things are that aren't working. And so I think in government and in the weather and in a whole lot of places, if we're not in the state of a breakdown, we're pretty close to a breakdown. And what I have to say to myself is, well, how can I participate in making this breakdown a breakthrough? What's my role in this? Well, one of my roles, and Judith reminded me of that of today and yesterday, is to meditate and prayer. And the power of meditation and the power of prayer allows me to see things differently.
And to feel things differently.
I think that may be even more important to feel things differently because I tend to, and I think most of us do, I tend to operate action, and my actions tend to reflect trying to mediate the feeling. If it's a negative feeling, then my action is probably not necessarily in favor of the best solution. It's in favor of the best amount of relief. What's it going to take to feel better, as opposed to what do I need to do here, whether it's to feel better or worse, to make things better. But the feeling tone of a thing can absolutely run you. And that's
Definitely does.
yeah, well, and it typically does. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And I've used this analogy before because it's very, very powerful. When a cheetah or a cheetah meets an animal that he's going to hunt, what he tries to do, if he can, or I should say, not a cheetah, but a leopard or a tiger, when they meet the animal that they're going to hunt, they try to get that animal to run. And when they try to get that animal to run, that animal has become a victim because they already have a plan. And they have the immediate speed, they have the immediate plan of attack all worked out. But if the animal simply says, I'm going to stay here and be here and face you face to face, you watch even the biggest of the big cats will often say, I'm not so sure. If I can't get you scared enough to run, I'm not sure that I want to deal with you head to head, face to face. And so that moment of turning around, and actually, I have to be accurate for those of you that have been watching nature programs. Uh, I'm thinking more like the lion after the big animals with horns. What are they?
A wildebeest?
Yeah, wildebeest. Yeah, when a lion faces a wildebeest, he tries to get the wildebeest to run, and as soon as he runs, it's over for him. But the wildebeest, when they turn around and say, "I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to stand. I'm taking a stand for what I know, which is my life," and what happens is then other wildebeest will stand, and also what ends up happening is we're not going to do this today. So, but I think very often we run away from fear and run into the problem.
Exactly. So, our point here is to not let all the daily news changes get you off center.
Right, and try to get your animal stories right. It's the trouble. I watched so many of them now. I think, was it a cheetah? Was it a leopard? No, it wasn't a tiger. No, no. They're all ambush animals, but lions, yes, it was lions.
So it may seem like we've given you two different instructions here. One,
Can we erase this part?
one is to just take steps of action, and the other is do nothing, go within.
Yeah.
But the
But
one
that is an action.
Yes, and also the steps of action are what that does, or at least it did in my mind this morning when I heard it, was remove all the chaos of the fear
Mhm.
about what to do or what needs to be done first. And so they really are synchronous, even though they appear different.
I don't want to get, but I will. too psychological on this. I spent some time years ago with Albert Ellis, who's a founder of cognitive therapy, and I went to the institute and spent a couple of weeks working with him. He's an amazing, amazing therapist, and he had a formula for that. He said, "You're afraid of something based on past experience, or actually, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? I could die from it." Okay. So you go to the worst possibility. You don't try to hide from it. The worst possibility is it's going to kill me. And then you ask yourself, based on past experience, what are the odds? Okay, well, the odds are pretty good. Get the hell away. Or the odds actually don't measure up to the feeling. That is, the odds are not that great. Even though the feeling is a 10, the odds are a 4. Okay, then you got some time. What would be a reasonable choice for you to do? But what happens is we have an emotional 10 and we run, as opposed to, that's interesting. The emotion is much, much stronger than the information that I'm getting about this. And so if we could use our heads and say, has the world ever been through what it's going through right now? Has our country ever been through? Actually, one of the most interesting things that I've been seeing are a lot of people who have historical back or who studied history, looking back and saying, this happened in 1749, this happened in 1852, this happened in 1958. Not quite like it's happening now, but we've been through these kinds of things before. Well, okay, that's helpful to know. What, based on past experience, what was the outcome? Okay, so how can I be a participant in the solution rather than how can I say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God? That can free us up to do, oh my God, I have a God. I can do some prayer work, I can do some meditation. And we know that those things work. There's been lots of research and lots of studies that say when you change your mind and a bunch of people work together to change their mind about a thing, that thing changes. And usually it's for healing for an illness or something that's wrong. But when we do that, and when there's been healing meditations conducted by lots and lots of people, there's been a decrease in violence, a decrease in personal injuries.
Exactly. And so if you have a practice of meditation, I meditate first thing in the morning. Bob meditates before going to bed at night.
And
So,
if I have time in the morning before I get up, yeah,
yeah, except that he goes to a job very early in the morning. So that works for him. You have to find your time.
yeah, make
But
it.
it's important to just let all the chaos and ups and downs settle away and just go inside. Because when you are there, you are connected with the peace. Well, I'll use the word God. You'll be connected with the peace of God if you can let your mind still enough so that we try to not think thoughts because you just want the experience of being,
Yeah.
not thinking. And that's a very hard thing to do. You just have to give it time, just give it practice.
And for those of you that have had a pretty tough religious upbringing, and the idea of God is scary enough or uncomfortable enough not to use it, and therefore not to do anything that would in any way suggest a connection to it, I highly recommend that you find your words. For me, for a very long time, it was divine intelligence, because I really believe there's a divine intelligence working in and through all of us. So when I go to that, you can call it the source, you could call it divine mind, you can call it divine intelligence, call it whatever you want. Find a thing that you can feel comfortable with. Lately, I have been calling it the sacred light. Why? Well, because what's been happening to me has felt like sacred information, and so that's play with it. Come up with what you think is right for you, because it's your personal space. And when you come up with what's right for you, that feels right for you, now you can say yes. Now let's talk. Let's have a conversation, and you can do that.
I'm reading some books now that refer to it, meaning the original creator and continual creator of all life, as being with a capital B, being. And that kind of throws me because I don't think of it as like a human being or spiritual being. It is being itself. If you're alive, you're being. And so it's like all life, originator of all life.
Yeah.
But that's what we're referring to, that what you access in the calm when you can turn off the, oh my God, what if, and just go into the silence.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you do that, you're making room for your inner knowledge, or what I would call your source knowledge, to connect with that which is even greater than you. And that becomes one. In essence, what you're doing is you're going into you are actually actively participating in going into a library, a huge library. And this library has all the knowledge and all the wisdom that's ever been created, and you have the ability to read, which is really important. You can pull from the shelf of infinite intelligence what's necessary if you believe that there is a library, that you believe that you actually have the capacity to learn and grow. I think one of the reasons that a lot of people have trouble with the idea of God is because they don't have a very good idea of themselves. They think of themselves as so small and so useless that the whole idea of a God is just alien to them. And so when we talk about a higher power, we talk about divine mind, we talk about divine intelligence, we're talking about a partner, we're talking about a relationship, and that lifts you up and can help you connect.
And you have some wonderful resources. Bob has uh, participated, co-created journal books
Oh,
with his art and wonderful haiku poetry, spiritual poetry by Guru Nam Khalsa, who you're on how many volumes of these?
well, we're doing number 9 right now.
Nine journaling books that have stimulating, beautiful art, uh, like the one behind us here that he created, and also then these haikus that are just brilliant. They just come to her from
Yeah.
guess where?
Divine intelligence. Well,
And
that's so fascinating too, and I highly recommend it. What's really interesting to me is I was making art and she was writing haiku. We decided to be a partner in this, and I decided I would just find art that went with a haiku. And it didn't take very long before the haiku was inspiring the art. And then what's happened is the art has also been inspiring the haiku. And what's been happening is we're becoming more and more together that each poem and each piece of art comes from that same place of divine mind.
right, yes. So just you can leave a message to us
Yeah,
how by going to our website.
or you can go to Amazon and simply type in Haiku Heart, the book.
Oh, the books,
Yeah,
right, the journaling
yeah, the
books.
journaling, they're all available.
Right through heart,
And what
yes.
we also did was we made room for another partnership. We partnered together, and we have on the left side of every page a place for you to be our partner, where you can write your thoughts and your ideas. And so
Exactly.
it's a partnership with the three of us, making the three of us, and wherever three or more are gathered, there comes the very highest and the best.
Two or more again.
I decided to change it.
So
I write my own material.
it's time for us to close.
It is.
Gosh, I really
Wow.
wanted to close with a process that I've done before.
It's okay. We can do that.
Can we do it?
Sure.
But I also I want to do a screen share here and share our website.
Sure. Don't
And
go away. Okay.
that's our website. Now you go down and click share.
Yeah. Took me a second.
So our website is cslpalmbeaches.org. Huh. I guess we can't get rid of this. That was the haiku. Here we go. Okay, so and we want you to know that that's also a way that you can donate to our center. Ways to donate in the top section. And we want to say an affirmation for our contributions because we believe what goes around comes around. And so as you give, so do you receive. It's a law of circulation. So we say this affirmation at this time of giving. My investment today is made with the full realization that God is the source of my supply and returns it to me enriched and multiplied. So it is. And so now, oops, I would like to, it looks like I can't. I would like to end with the process.
Look at how we go to full screen view.
Okay. And the process is repeating that phrase that's from the Bible. I think it's from Psalms.
Mm-hmm.
Be still and know that I am God. That's what's in the Bible. And this phrase is very powerful if you use it and say it each time eliminating one word at the end. So say it to yourself as I repeat it. Be still and know that I am God. And then keeping your eyes closed, be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still. Be. Now, that is a powerful way to enter a meditation also.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I do it, I feel it. It just immediately calms me and centers me. So I offer that to you as a technique for learning to be still when things might be upsetting.
Right. So we're going to end.
We are going to end.